to the kids.
Okay. I'll go over one of those in a second. I'm trying to find a quick little review. Okay. We're going to have a quiz after lesson 7-4. Okay? And right now, I know today we'll probably get through part of lesson 7-3. So tomorrow-ish, I don't know. I said your quiz may be Wednesday. It may be more like Thursday or Friday. It just kind of depends on when we get through this. All right. So the first one, we're going to go through a quick review of these. I'm trying to see. We can definitely handle all the first 5. All right. What do you do if you have a negative exponent?
Oh, move it to the side.
Move it. So if it's in the top, it moves to the bottom. If it's in the bottom, it moves to the top. If there is, like, you can't tell there's no top or bottom, then it's in the top. You'll put a 1 over it, okay, if need be. So like on this one, both of them have a negative exponent. So where do both numbers go?
Bottom.
To the bottom. So just draw a little line. Well, let me see. Oh, God. Okay. Now it should work. Oh, I'm gonna get it in a second. There we go. All right, so draw a line, okay, and you're saying 5 to the 1 and 3 squared. Does everybody understand that? I didn't move anything because of a negative number out front. I moved them because they have a negative exponent. Okay? When you move it, do not write that negative exponent. You moved it, so it would become positive. So don't forget that. Now, I need something up top. Since nothing stayed up there, you put a 1 over it. Now, let's just think through this. 5 to the first power, if you don't know that, type in your calculator, it's 5. That means you write the number 5 one time. 5. This means you would multiply 3 times 3. You would write the 3 twice. So that's 9. So I'll write them down. What is 5 times 9? 45. That's your answer for the first one. Okay? So if it's just a number, you can actually figure out what the final answer is. Notice number 2, what happens? There's no numbers. Okay, no coefficients, no numbers out front. Those are all variables. So if it has a negative exponent, you move it. If it does not have a negative exponent, you do not move it. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, so m, do I move the m? No, I do not. I'm going to write it. Okay. Do I move the n? Yes. It's in the top, so I'm going to move it, and it becomes n to the 4. Do I move the p? Think about this. What is p to the 0? 1. Do I need to write the number 1? You could, if you wanted to write 1 times that, you can. But do you ever need that number 1? It's an understood 1. Okay, so I'm not going to write the 1. And then q to the negative 2, I'm going to move it right, and it comes up here, and it's q squared. That's it. Done with that one. There is nothing to figure out.
That's the answer?
That's your answer. Your m stayed, your n moved, your q moved, and p to the 0 power, well, that's just
Why did
1.
you move it
Because q has what exponent?
though?
Why did it move? Because it has a negative exponent. So it moved to the top. Okay, on this one, your 3 does not move. It does not have a negative exponent. X to the negative 4,
Negative 4 minutes.
it moves. So it goes down there, x to the 4. Okay? Let's pretend that that was a negative 3. Well, your negative 3 would still stay because it does not have a negative exponent. Okay? It's just rules. We just follow the rules. The rules don't change. They are the same every time. The next one, d to the negative 4,
Negative 4 minutes.
it moves. T to the 3rd
Stays.
stays. So I'm going to leave my t to the 3rd and move my d to the 4th. There you go. That's it. It either moves or it stays. All right, I'll erase some of these. Let me look and write that down. I'm gonna do these next few. This is kind of like what the first part of the quiz would be later this week. We just have to finish a bunch of them down at the bottom. So we'll have several more rules. Okay, I'm gonna move that. I'm gonna move it up just a little bit. Is anybody still writing those? No? Okay. I'm gonna do number 5. I'm gonna do a little more. I'm gonna do 5, 6, 7, and I think that's it. We're gonna look at some of these other ones today. So, number 5, 3 to the 0. What is that?
1.
1. We can write it for now if you want to. 1. What happens to s to the negative 2?
Goes down.
It goes to the bottom, so it becomes s squared. And what about t squared?
Stable.
It stays. So see how I have 1t squared over s squared? Another way to write that is just t squared over s squared. That's the same thing. You do not have to write the understood one. But if you do, it's fine. Okay, if you wrote that I would take that. That's the correct answer. Okay, that is also, if it was multiple choice, that's what they would look like. Okay. Oh wait, we can't do, just kidding, we can't do number 6. Not yet. Okay. I can do number 10. A to the third times a to the third. What do you do when you're multiplying? What do you do with those exponents? You add them. Because y'all, this is like saying, I don't want to write all this out, but that's like saying A, that's a to the third, and then another a to the third. So how could you combine that together? You would write that as a to the 6th. Okay? You add the exponents when you're multiplying. That was a rule that we learned. Notice we're not going to do the fraction ones just yet. Maybe we'll do a few in a little bit. I can do number 7. Okay? B to the 0, what's that? 1. So we can write that if you want to. Okay? Now, what is a squared and a to the negative third? What do you do with those? Add them. What's 2 plus negative 3?
Negative 1.
Okay, so 1a to the negative 1. What happens with a negative exponent? It goes to the bottom, or it moves. So I'll put my 1 up there, and there's my a to the positive 1. I would write it like this, 1 over a. But that's the same thing, okay? Do we understand that? Negative exponents move. Anything to the 0 power is just the number 1. When we're multiplying, we add exponents. And we're going to keep adding rules. We'll look at some of the fraction problems today, just a little bit. Just because we're actually doing that in Algebra 2.
What grade is
this
that?
week. Juniors. So theirs is like a little more complex than y'all's, but
What's the seniors?
that's advanced math. Can I erase this? While y'all have these small problems where you have a fraction as an exponent, they're going to have something like that, a whole equation where they have fractions as exponents. Anyway, they'll learn that. Yeah, maybe today or tomorrow. I can't remember what day. Yours is going to stay more basic though. All right, so let me get to today's lesson. I think we've got 2 things going on with the lesson today. We're not dividing yet. We are doing, we got to finish this lesson. Okay. We've already done those. Okay, scientific notation. That is not something that I went over very much, but it was on your worksheet. So let me just go over a few of those problems for y'all. Okay, let's see. If we had in scientific notation 9.98 times 10 to the 5th and then I'm trying to multiply that. This says, like, you're doing chemistry, and here's the mass of cubic meter of water. Each gram contains about 3.34 times 10 to the 22nd molecules of water. Basically, what you're doing is multiplying these two things together, okay? They're just giving us some scientific notation. Do y'all know what scientific notation is? I don't know if you've learned this. You might have learned it in 8th grade. You should learn it in science, maybe in 9th grade at some point. Basically, instead of writing numbers like this, I'm just making that 1, 2. Instead of writing big numbers, you can write it like scientific notation. Or this one, that has times 10 to the 22. Do y'all know how many numbers I would add? I would move that decimal 22 times to the right. Do you want to write this number right here? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Do you want to write that number on your paper? No. So scientific notation exists to make it. This says this is this number. I'm going to write it like this. Okay? That's the whole point of scientific notation. It's for really, really large numbers or really, really small numbers. Like I could have a number like this. Right? Instead of writing that, I could use scientific notation to represent that number. Okay? Now, if you type numbers in on your calculator, say that I'm trying to multiply this on my calculator, it may, I'm just making this up, it may do like this, 4.26, and then it'll say, sorry, e to the, I don't know, 38. I'm just making this up completely. Okay? That means 4.26 times 10 to the 38. That's how your calculator, I think it would write like this. E38. That's how your calculator would give you the answer. That's what that means. Okay, it means, oh, this is scientific notation. That number is too big or too small to fit on the calculator screen. So it does that. Does that make sense? Anyway, you'll learn that in science class. Or, I don't know if y'all do that in 8th. Do y'all do that in 8th grade science or 8th grade math? You may know?
Math.
8th grade math. Okay. We don't do that in here except for today. Like this is, I think, the only scientific notation that we do. But you will see it in science class. I believe at some point in 9th grade. Could be totally wrong. Okay, anyway, I did something wrong on this problem. Oh, there was more information. Of course it was. 9.98 times 10 to the 5th, 3.34 times 10 to the 22nd. There was another one. Sorry, 1.13 times 10 to the negative 7. There was another bit of information. They want us to multiply these three things together. Notice, 10 is a base. Do y'all understand that? A number raised to an exponent. This is the base, this is the exponent. 10 is the base, 22 is the exponent. 10 is the base, negative 7 is the exponent, okay? Now, these three numbers, I will multiply on my calculator, okay? I have no idea what they are, so let me multiply them. I'm going to type in 9.98 times 3.34 times 1.13, okay? I'm going to multiply those three numbers that were out front, and it tells me 37.67.
Hey, is he here today?
Yeah? He's not in there?
No. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know what.
I've got somebody going to look for Shay, because Shay came to class and said that they said Shay and Hayden left, but I don't know where they are. I'm sorry.
No,
I just was like, didn't turn in my absentee yet, and I didn't want to, but yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyway, we'll multiply those and we get 37.67. Okay. Now, times 10 to what do you do with all those numbers above the tens?
Just like, whatever it's called, add them up.
Yeah, you add them all up. They have the same base, okay? So we'll just add 5 plus 22 plus negative 7. 5 plus 22, plus negative 7. And it tells me, okay, my exponent is going to be 20. So you might think that's your answer. It's very, very close to being your answer, okay? That is very close. Notice, how many numbers are in front of this decimal? 1. Here. 1. Here. 1. That's like a rule for scientific notation. How many numbers are supposed to be in
Can I
front?
have your attention, please? I need to see Shay Nettles and Hayden Kaysen in the office. Shay and Kaysen to the office now.
1 number in front of the decimal. So you get 3.767. And then what do you do with that exponent? What do you think happens when you move it to the left? Yeah, it actually gets bigger. Okay, because the reason is because these are, when it goes to the left, you're going to add 1. If you were to move the decimal to the right, you're going to subtract 1. Okay, again, that's just something to memorize. I'll do another one with scientific notation. I'll do this one. All right, are we ready? Okay. Let's look at 0.2 times 10 to the 5th, and then 4 times 10 to the negative 12. Okay, what's 0.2 times 4? This will be 0.8. Very good. 0.8. And then let's do 10 to the, what's 5 plus negative 12? Negative 7. Let's see. Now on this one, 0 doesn't count. 0 shouldn't be my number, right, out in front of the decimal. I need a number that's not 0. So I have to move it to the right. Move that the decimal to the right. So it would be 8 times 10. What happens when you move the decimal to the right? What did I say you do? You don't add 1, you subtract 1. So it becomes negative 8. Because what's negative 7 minus 1? Negative 8. We don't, again, do a whole lot with scientific notation. But all right, now I'm going to see what I want to do next. That one I can do. I think, I don't know. We didn't do anything with square roots, really, did we? I may stay away from some of these problems, but I'll do this one. Okay, let's look at I'm sorry, I can barely see that. 2a to the 2/3 times 3b to the 1/4 times a to the 1/3 times 5b to the 1/2. I can barely see these numbers on the book. Okay, so these are just fractions. Guess what? You can put fractions in your calculator, so do not freak out over this, okay? All right, what are my numbers out front? We call them coefficients. What are they? 2 times what else? And 5. 2 times 3 times 5. So what is that? What is 2 times 3 times 5? 30. All right, so I'm done with those 3 numbers. Got that. Now let's combine our a's. What do you do with the exponents for the a's? Anybody? What do you do with those exponents? You add them. What is 2/3 plus 1/3? Anybody know that? Does anybody know what 2/3 plus 1/3 is? It's 1. How in the world do you get that? What is 2 plus 1? 3. What is 3/3? What is 3 over 3? 1. That's why. Say that you don't know that, which is sad, 2/3 plus 1/3 is 1. There it is on your calculator, okay? But y'all should know that, okay? If I have 3 items, somebody takes 2 and then you take 1 more, you'll have 3 out of the 3, okay? All of them or whatever. Anyway, it makes a whole. So, a to the 1. We don't have to put the 1. Now let's look at the b's. I know those don't match, so maybe you do want to use your calculator. On this one, that's fine. What are you going to do? You're going to add 1/4 and 1/2. So if you cook a lot, you would already know this answer. If you deal with like 1/4 of cups and 1/2 of cups, does anybody cook in here a lot and measure? If you had like all your measuring cups and you had a 1/2 a cup and another 1/4 a cup, some of you would know that's 3/4 a cup, just like that. Okay? Maybe you don't, but the more you cook, the more you'll, like, the better you are with fractions. Anyway, if I press enter, it's going to give me a decimal. So press math, enter, and that's going to tell you, hey, that's actually 3/4. So I'm going to just write b to the 3/4. And I'm going to leave my answer as that because that's how they do it in the book. They'll leave it like that. When you get to college algebra, it's way more advanced than this, okay? It's going to go on from here. They do give you some problems. I'll just let you type them in your calculator, just so you're familiar with it. Like, they give you... Is everybody okay with this one? Kinda? I might do another one in a second. You're just adding exponents. They're just fractions. What if they give you 81 to the 1/4? How would you figure that out? Anybody have a clue? I wouldn't think so. Just use your calculator for today, okay? Now in not college algebra, in algebra 2, it means it's the 4th root of 81. But y'all don't have to know that. That's what they're going to learn. You can type that in your calculator, 81. Do y'all know how to do the exponent? Have I shown y'all that? You press this little up arrow and then just type in 1/4. And guess what it gives you? The answer, 3. 81 to the 1/4 is 3. It's just, you can type these in on your calculator. What is 64 to the 1/2? So type that in. 64 to the 1/2. And it's what? 8. If you didn't know it, that means it's the square root of 64. That's another way to write 64 to the 1/2. Again, you'll learn that in Algebra 2. Okay, let's see. I may do... I'm trying to think. How are we with all this? Are we good? Yeah, I mean, you've kind of learned all that except for the fractions. I'm only going to introduce like a tiny bit. That's really like the last few lessons. I might just do a couple of problems. And then, let's see, that's going to be Tuesday. Yeah, your quiz will be Friday. Quiz review Thursday, quiz on Friday. For those that aren't here on Wednesday, I think it's just a couple of y'all. It'll be just like a little worksheet. I'll give you the quiz review and then you can decide. I don't know that you would be ready for the quiz before break. So if I were y'all, I would just kind of do some of that over winter break and then take the quiz when you get back instead of stressing over it. Okay, so now finally to today's lesson. I'm just going to make it kind of short. It says a power to a power. So this is what our problems will look like today. But I'm not giving you a worksheet today. See how you have a power that's like an exponent and it's raised to a power. You do not add these. Okay, this is what this one means. If I was to write this out, it would mean I would write into the 4 7 times. 30. 4, 5, 6. Do you want to have to write that out 7 times? No, to figure it out. what would you do with all those exponents? You would add them if you wrote it out like this. And if I add 4 7 times, it would be 28. Can anybody see a shortcut instead of having to write that out? What would you do? How else can I get 28? 7 times 4. Does everybody understand that? So, when it's a power to a power, you multiply the exponents. Otherwise, you're going to be writing that out and then trying to add them up. All right, so your shortcut is to just multiply. What's 4 times 7? 28. There's your answer. No need to write all that out. Okay? But that's why you do that. I thought they were going to say something when I missed it. Yes. So let's look at some of these. That's, I think, just about our whole rule for today. A power to a power you multiply, but then we'll put some stuff together. Okay, let's look at this one. X to the 2/3 to the 1/2. Please do not let fractions scare you because your calculator is smart. Okay? So what do you do with a power to a power? Multiply. Okay? So we'll do 2/3 times 1/2. All right? If you don't know that, use your calculator. Oops. So I like to put mine in parentheses. 2/3 times 1/2. It'll give you a decimal unless you press math enter. Now we're talking. Now we need a fraction. It's 1/3. X to the 1/3. And that's how we're going to leave our answers. Okay? If you have a fraction, just leave it like that. What if I have p to the 5 to the 4th? What's that one going to be? What is that? P to the 20th. Can y'all tell the difference between these two problems? What's this answer? P to the 9th. Can everybody see the difference between these two things? Two different rules. When you're multiplying, you add. That's so weird. When you're multiplying, you add exponents. When it's a power to a power, you multiply the exponents, okay? You just kind of have to be able to see it and remember those rules. Let's do a few more. Let's see. I don't like any of those. I'll do this one. P to the 1/2 to the 1/4. What do you do with that one? We just multiply. Use the calculator if you need to. And it would give you P to the 1/8. Okay, just multiply. All right, our last problem for the day, and then I might just give you a few to try on your own paper, just to see if you can do them. I'm going to change it up just a bit. This one's weird. Y to the 3rd times y to the, what does that say? 5/2 to the -2. Okay, this one has a lot to it. So we'll do several like this. What do you do with a power to a power? Multiplying. I don't do anything with this y to the 3rd. Do y'all see that? I'm going to leave it here for now, and I'm going to multiply this. What is 5/2 times -2? -5. So I'm going to put y to the -5. Does everybody understand? I just brought my y to the 3rd over, and I multiplied those two numbers, and it gave me -5. If you don't believe me, put it in your calculator, okay? Now, am I done? No. What do you do when you're multiplying? What do I do with those exponents? Add them. What is 3 plus -5? It's -2. What do you do? Another rule. What do you do with a negative exponent? You move it, yeah. So it goes to the bottom. And I just need to put a 1 up there since there's nothing up there. Okay, that is using every single rule except for the 0 one. Every rule we've done so far. Let's do a few more of these. X squared times x to the 6 to the -4. So you do not multiply all those by -4. What number is going to be multiplied by -4? Just the 6. So let me write my x squared down. And then what is 6 times -4? -24. Okay, so I did my product, a power to a power. Now what do? What do I do with these exponents? Add them. So it's -22. And what happens when you have a negative exponent? You move it. So it's 1 over x to the 22. Yes. All right. So let me give y'all just a few to try on your paper, and then we're done for the day because I'm not going to give y'all a worksheet. That way, if anybody has anything they need to turn in, they can get that to me before class is over. You'll try that one. These, no, you won't turn this in. This is just for you. I'll write down the answers in a little bit. Just try them for a few minutes. We'll just take like 5 minutes. Try, I don't know how many I'll do, several. I gotta see. Oh, here's a good one. I just want to see if you're getting them. I want you to see if you're getting them.
This is the page I owe you, right? The scatter plots.
Let me look and see. I ended up not taking one of them because not a lot turned it in. But I did take like the one that was from last week. But not the one that I was like, hold on to this, I'll take it later. I didn't worry with it. I'm trying to see. Okay, I think that's enough for today. Y'all try those 5 problems. It might take you, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, and then you'll still have 10 minutes left in class. I will put the answers up in 10 minutes, okay? So that way you can see if you got them. I'll give y'all a paper tomorrow. Yes. This is right.
All the questions you gotta do. All the questions you gotta do.
Yes. So I'm gonna give y'all, well, I told them 10 minutes, but in a little bit, I'll give you the answers, see if you can get them.
I got you.
Okay.
When it's 2 exponents, you add them, right? Or you want?
It depends on how it's written. If we have not gotten to a subtraction rule yet, that comes Wednesday.
So
When it's a power to a power, you multiply. Now, when they're written like this, you add. When they're written like this, you multiply. Okay? When it's a power to a power, you multiply. But then if you have to write them like this, you're going to add them. Subtraction rule comes Wednesday. So make sure that you got these. A few more minutes. What did I have there? Yes. Let's see. Probably just a normal one.
Thank you.
Okay, are y'all ready for answers? Probably not yet. I know the boys got started late. Y'all want a few more minutes, boys, before I write? Okay. Okay. It's just to make sure that you're getting it. Do you understand it? Oh, I'm still recording.